Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the StarLadder StarSeries Season 14 here live now for Europe. This is one of two matches that we have live right now for you. There's another match going on our alternate channel over what I believe is twitch.tv/FaceItTV2. If you want to watch what I think is Titan versus Navi, you can go ahead right over there. That's being casted by Metas, but this is me. My name is Blue, and we have TSM versus G2 here for you guys. TSM just went out the knife round here on the first map, which is going to be Inferno. And with that, we should be getting started at any moment with it, as it looks like all the players have joined up and are ready to rock and roll. We do apologize once again for the bit of a late start on this one as well. I think TSM had another match that they had to finish up really quickly back over at what I think was Fragbite, so they took a little bit longer to get through that match, but no problem at all. We're getting live with this one, a little bit behind schedule, and we should be able to go forward with it without too many other issues. And as for G2, still using their fill-in, which is going to be Uterus again. Rain, I think, is still on his little bit of a vacation back over in America right now, but he should be returning pretty shortly, but for the time being, still going to be using that fill-in here for the team until he makes that return in a couple of days' time. But first map is going to be over here on Inferno. Second map, we'll be jumping over to... 1 second. I have a really short memory. I'm having trouble remembering things there, but the second map is going to be over on Mirage. This was the pick, if I remember correctly, from G2. Second map is going to be TSM's pick, and the third map, of course, which is the last one that's remaining after the bans and whatnot, is going to be over on Train if we do need to go to that one. Now, both of these teams, again, they've had their ups and downs recently. G2 specifically with this fill-in have been looking a little bit weaker, and TSM... it's definitely been a very bouncy point in their team's career, but we'll have to see how things go, as now we are getting live with a pistol round. So let's take a look at how things are going here, and right at the beginning, aizy, along with plenty of the other guys over here from G2, are going to be able to get some good damage back over there, being able to drop out one of the members of TSM already, and this finds them through the mid-choke point, so they're already making some very good map progress. cajunb is going to try to look for a response to it back over here through Rapside, as we see him looking out for it, but G2 not biting on it just as of yet. In fact, they actually fall back, move their way over here towards Banana, where Xyp9x is actually waiting for these players too, and is going to sneak up. Nobody spotted him as of yet, but now he fires the gun. He spotted these players, and he has a smoke to support him. So he's going to fall back a little bit here and give out that intel that there is a push coming in his direction. But TSM actually not biting on the rotation just as of yet. They think that this is going to be a mind game play, to where it's actually going to go back down Banana once again and then come back through middle, but this is definitely not the case. It's rushing into this site now, and they've got to call for these rotations. They might end up coming in too late, but Xyp9x is playing it very passively. He rolls in, gets that headshot on a Fox. Now he's going to wrap out here, trying to find the shots on the aizy as well. Not going to be able to take him down as of yet, but might have a chance to do so anyway, and they're doing some good damage despite G2 having the man advantage. They might not be safe, and in fact, there you go. dupreeh, Xyp9x, and cajunb all picking up frags, just leaving it down to jkaem now, as he's going to have to try to pull off this 1 versus 3, gets the first frag, but now down at 29 HP. They're sticking that plant, or defuse, I should say, for the time being over here, and it's going to be mainly over here onto one of these players. He's going to get taken down, and no! jkaem clutches it out. That's going to be 2 kills, and actually a 3 versus 1 clutch coming in his direction, and he's going to pick up the pistol round here for G2. Nicely done there. And that is going to give the first round over to the guys on the terrorist side here, as we'll get started. And I might have a little bit of a bug with the GoTV. Please ignore the floating stack of grenades and that gun walking in front of you, which I think is aizy. If that doesn't fix itself in like a round or two, I could probably just reload it to the server and we can have that issue fix itself. But unfortunately, this also means that we get the drone point of view for aizy's camera, as he's just going to be like an RC car skirting along the ground, and this is the only way I can watch him for now. So that'll be fun when the auto director tries to go over towards him. But as we take a look at the setup here for TSM, we can see their players once again just splitting themselves up pretty normally, not anything too out of the mix. cajunb trying to play things up very, very closely over here to hopefully catch any players that do press their way outside of the long haul, but not going to be able to catch anybody just as of yet. That's still most of the push is actually going to be coming through that mid choke point once again. And we'll have to see how well they push for it, but it's actually pretty much the same setup here from G2 in this round. They move in for it, and then they're just going to fall back and go for the banana push. TSM have prioritized actually putting an extra person on it this time around, so you can see Xyp9x is here too to help out with, man, these name changes are throwing me off of it. Help out with karrigan. I think this is karrigan anyway, but that's not going to stop them. aizy's just going to roll right in. He finds 2 kills back to back there, taking out both karrigan along with Xyp9x. Devices is also going to fall to Muterius as well. And now again, that's a successful take. Nothing else that the members of TSM are going to be able to do here in these final moments of the round. And already G2 know this, so they're out hunting. They're going to try to drop those couple of extra guns, get rid of them, and prevent any saves at all from coming out on the side of TSM. So as we see here, cajunb's been found out. dupreeh probably not going to be able to go any further here. But actually, they made him out a little bit there. He picks up a first kill, and he gets a second on a Mutirius as well. That's a great shot from dupreeh. But ultimately, again, the round still goes by the way of G2. With only 2 deaths being inflicted on the members here of the terrorist side, it really isn't going to make as big of an impact as they were hoping for there. So still looking very good here for the side of G2. And now we're going to go into the garbage round for TSM, where they won't really be able to invest anything. A couple of smokes to hold off the initial push, but beyond that, the max buys that they have going for themselves, it's going to be P250s. And look at aizy. Just zipping along there, man. Looks like another game that came out yesterday, right now. We're in the investigation phase, Rainbow Six. So, he's going to move up and try to set up the grenades back over here through mid-choke once again. As it's the same setup, but this time a lot more direct back over here to get themselves over towards Banana. It might actually be reversing itself this time. And oh, look, a body! aizy is just teleported out of the nether realm there, as dupreeh's going to find a headshot to take him down. And now the rest of G2, they're going to try to make this push through here. And Zipnix is going to hold things up close back over by Arches. They have managed to make their way through, and they're pushing into it, but we can see Zipnix once again. He's going to push his way through, and as they get themselves onto the site here, the kills start to roll out. Mutirius and Maikelele find the first 2, but cajunb is holding on pretty strong, and it keeps us into a 3-on-3 for now. But now Maikelele finding another route around it. He's going to be able to take out Zipnix. That nade, touchdown, is going to take out cajunb. See another one popping out here. karrigan finding that kill on a Maikelele to respond to it. Finds the second one on a Fox, and he may yet have a chance to clutch this out. It's just going to be jkaem now as he has to fall back around Rap side once again. The flash is going to come out. He might just end up sticking the defuse here. Can't definitely do that. He doesn't have a kit to work with, but as the peak comes back out, thankfully jkaem can manage himself there. He's going to be able to take down karrigan and prevent disaster. That's still a good round for TSM as we head into the first gun round. As you can see, it's going to force a whole load of rebuys onto the members of G2 here. And it's going to keep their money very, very low here. So if we do see TSM picking up this first gun round, very real chance we'll see a save come out almost immediately after that. As the money now for G2 has completely been stunted down to the floor. They're definitely not going to have enough. Max, we'll see like a Tech 9 armor light coming out. But Maikelele just goes right back over here to middle, gets himself into a duel with Device, and unfortunately for Device, he's found out in the middle against an op, and that is just not a battle he's going to be able to win. So the first kill goes by the way of the T's, and that's going to be a nice first op shot that comes back out there. But as we see once again, aizy, I really need to try and fix this camera, trying to find his way inside of the apartments here, grouping up with jkaem now. And as these guys try to work their way outside of Boiler, we've got dupreeh trying to hold things back over there by the Jesus pole, but not going to be able to hold it off. He will end up getting taken down. Now again, the defense is just slowly being whittled off here by the members of G2 early on in this map at this point, as we see cajunb hoping to investigate, hoping to find out something that's going on, and G2 again just so casually going about this too, not really pushing themselves into the site, just because TSM is playing this so aggressively that G2 are constantly finding these frags due to that. And unfortunately, their defenses are being limited more and more as the round goes further on. We haven't actually seen G2 try to check out what's going on the B site, but obviously if they make a move in there, they're going to see that there's literally nothing going on. And it does look like the take is going to be happening here. aizy, who unfortunately I can't go to his camera point of view once again directly, is going to be the only player that actually does not go back over there. He's just going to serve to keep the rotations here and hopefully cut anybody off that would try to go for the quick rotation. And now G2, they know what's going on back over at B. They're going to get this plant, and TSM are going to have to come to the unfortunate realization of what exactly just happened, and obviously we won't really be able to see them do too much here in the post round. They're going to have to go for the save, and aizy's going to hold them back off, so their only route of a possible escape is going to be back over there through the apartments, or maybe going over there towards CT as well, but even that may not be the safest route for obvious reasons with G2 moving their players over there to try to hunt them down. But there's actually going to be Zipnix. He catches out aizy, so they'll have an escape route after all here to try and save these guns, and it should look pretty good to do so. Probably actually just going to keep themselves right here, because this is a perfectly fine spot. Bomb's not blowing up, so why not just camp where you are and keep yourself alive. But for G2, a strong foundation is once again going to be reestablished by the victory of this round. And now it'll be about building that against their opponents here. As they're not going to be in the clear just as of yet. TSM is still probably going to be able to drop rifles for those that died this round, and then we'll see at least one more fairly sufficient buy round coming out. Maybe not rifles necessarily, but we do see at the very least the Mag 7 comes out for dupreeh. And Device is going to get himself a rifle drop. So they got 4 rifles, the one Mag 7, which can just be played up close back over like on Banana or inside of the apartments or something. And then cajunb still is the op too. So this is still a pretty powerful buy from TSM. And like we said before, G2 are not necessarily going to be in a safe position just as of yet. But this is definitely a good start. And unfortunately, TSM maybe just to hold back the reins a little bit here in terms of their opening positioning here, as G2 seem to be dominating that with their more passive T-sided play, and we constantly see opening frags going by the way of the Ts right now, which is not what TSM need to successfully defend things. But we can see again the lineups coming out here pretty par the course as far as what G2 has been doing for most of this half so far. You can see Device is going to try to get a close-up battle in case they actually do press forward, but with the smoke coming in, doesn't actually want to take the risk on that. So this is good again. He's giving them a little bit more room, a little bit more passively being played here on this CT side as he falls back a little bit, but he is going to take a couple hints of damage, down to 74. Now creeping himself out potentially over towards Cubby, but again, these nades are so perfectly timed by G2. Very unfortunate circumstances, and now the peak comes back out here. They're going to reveal themselves, and Maikelele finds the first opening shot over here on a cajunb, is able to take him down, trying to make sure there's nothing in pit, but they do have a crossfire set up over here. No pressure coming in from balcony either, so this can get dangerous, and there we go. dupreeh knocking aizy out of the invisible realm, takes him back down, eliminates the first player, and now we've got Device. He's going to pick up two, with Tyrus and Fox both end up going down. jkaem is able to respond to that by taking out Device, but still, you've got the pressure coming out from dupreeh up top, and now Xyp9x comes in. He's just going to close that back out, and there's the first round for TSM now coming onto the board with a great hold on to the A site. G2's success ended up getting the better of them in this case as they just pressed themselves forward, thinking that, again, these takes are going to go directly the way that they planned them to, but little do they know that they barely put any pressure onto the B site, so easily TSM are given enough of a motive just to hold all of their defenses here. They already had rotations primed and ready to rock and roll back over here in the event it did get pushed, and that crossfire setup was absolutely brutal, and it almost never got punished. That's combined with, again, that shotgun pressure coming from up top, just allowed it to be a fairly simple defense from TSM with pretty minimal losses, too, when you take a look at it, only losing 2 players, which, compared to a lot of the previous rounds, of course, is much, much better. But now we can see, again, at least with jkaem, is going to try to pressure himself outside of the apartments for now to try and make this push over here, just to make some noise on the A site. May not ever actually end up going outside of it, but definitely probably going to toss some nades out here, whereas the rest of the team focusing on a B push for now, not necessarily going into it just as of yet, but it will be a little bit more of a dangerous take because we have the default setup coming in now, but jkaem actually does manage to peek outside of the balcony there, unfortunately just after dupreeh moves away from this one too. So he's not going to be able to catch that player there. jkaem actually looking for a second one. dupreeh basically just going to walk right into jkaem there, so that's a bit unfortunate as he's going to falter now as well. And here comes that aggression again, which unfortunately has been killing TSM in the previous rounds. However, Device now killing the players over here from the side of G2, picking up 2. The smoke comes out for the response, allows them to press forward a little bit, but Maikelele, he's going to fail to get himself up onto the site successfully. Fox finds his way, but now he's going to have to try to collect these shots back over here, at the very least on the Device. Device missing again, and now he's pinholed over here. He needs that support coming in from Xyp9x, and we do see that coming into play very, very well here. He's going to peek out. They did eventually end up losing Device, but now this flight comes out from karrigan here. He's going to be able to easily drop Fox as he goes for that plant. Fox tries to cancel the plant, but it's not going to happen. karrigan gets the drop on him too well, and that's going to be a second round in a row here for TSM, and this is good too as it keeps the economy fairly well established, and it's also going to break the side of G2 for the first time here. Out of 6 rounds, we're going to have to see these guys go on to an eco, and they will have to take it very lightly here on their part of the course, and to keep them in this game economically speaking. If they were to force it up here, it would be a Tech 9 buy at most, and they would be completely out and would have to double save essentially, depending on if you consider Tech 9 armor buys a save or not. Some people don't, some people do. But we can see G2 probably just going to go for a very quick play up banana, just make a rush take over here to get themselves onto the B site. And we can see Xyp9x trying to hold it. There is a nice grenade kill that comes back out there. They're actually caught off guard a little bit. They don't expect it to come in as quickly as it does. They do manage to drop an additional player on the way in as Fox doesn't calculate his health well enough, but aizy holding the line back over here. He's going to pick up one more kill, perhaps that trade. Device finding another kill for the CTs as he picks up one with another nade frag that comes onto Maikelele. Now jkaem going to try to get the drop over here in order to take out Device, but that's not going to happen. He sees that coming from a mile away. Is able to dispatch of jkaem very, very easily, and that will be the 3rd round now being picked up for TSM. One more away from tying it up, but again, because of the light buy we saw from G2 in the previous round, they are going to be able to transition this very, very quickly into another AK buy, and we'll see them coming out at their full strength. Decent amount of utility. The only thing they're really missing, as you can see, is going to be like mollies and whatnot, but with everything else considered, they should still be able to make a good impact. The only problem they're going to have, which we have seen a little bit of so far in this match, is probably going to be just getting those mollies in position to force players out of positions, because we have seen these players sort of buckling down, and that's a great shot from Device that takes out Maikelele. We have seen some of these players buckling down in harder spots to take out, and unfortunately G2 has struggled to eliminate these players, but that's some good timing there that comes out from karrigan after he loses his teammate. He's going to be able to push back out and finds a trade on a Tyrus, and that's going to keep his team in the advantage for now. It keeps things up to a 4-on-3. The rest of G2 grouping themselves up, not deciding on a site push just as of yet, but they are leaning towards the mid-choke once again to try and make their way through this one and find their way onto the A site. This also could lend its way to go up through here, go through arches, and then make its way into a B push as well, which, depending on the way that they smoke this, if at all, Could be very, very likely. They're creeping around it now, still keeping the bomb by mid-choke. And after they've pressed through it here, it actually does look like they are going to commit themselves to A. At the very least, try to find a way around it. But there's jkaem actually catching one of the rotators off. And now this is definitely going to prompt that arch split. They move their way in through it. The bomb's going to come up banana. Bit of a safer path, but they still have a device to worry about. He's got the op. He's sitting behind new box. And he's going to be able to take down jkaem. Does have to fall back a little bit because of the smoke, but oh no! He's going to miss that shot onto aizy. And aizy's just going to be able to deck onto the floor with a nice headshot that comes out from the AK. Now it's a 2 versus 2. The final 2 members from TSM. We do see the stack coming up here. And cajun is going to see if he can find Fox hiding behind new box. Doesn't actually see him, so he doesn't want to take the risk on the shot, but with how loud they're being, they're going to know that this retake is coming from a mile away, so as they push themselves in, Fox has already got himself into a bit of a risky position there, sitting behind the fountain, not a lot of room to move, so he's going to get taken down fairly easily by cajunb. Now you just got aizy trying to hold this one back off. If he can find cajun, he's going to be able to take him down, but as he presses forward as well, he still has to find dupreeh out. He's going to go for that defuse. 3 seconds left on it. aizy going to go for the peek, and he's going to be able to find that frag. So clutches it out for G2. Still going to die in the explosion, but that doesn't matter. Keeps his team in the lead for now. Brings things up to 3-5. Let me actually... Let's see. What's this round going to be? If this is an eco round, I could try reloading into the server. Well, we'll just do it now anyway. This will be a 4-spot round, as you could sort of see before you're reloading into it there from the CT side. There we go. Alright, cool. Didn't miss anything. So this is going to be a 4-spot round that comes out from TSM. They're just going to empty out the bank account and start from scratch here. We've got the op being bought onto device, but for the rest of these guys, it's a very, very amount of awkward buys. Same story to some degree for G2 as well. And we're going to see a couple of trades happening at the beginning of this round, but Fox is going to dominate most of it here with the P90. Just walking forward, finding those pickups, not taking a single hint of damage either, and already bringing it down to 3 CTs left alive here. dupreeh and device, both have 2 fairly considerable guns, so again, it might be an early save call here, and that's exactly what it looks like it's going to be now, as these 2 are just sitting back, not really going to go for anything. cajunb has a deagle armor too, so that's a semi-expensive buy. It's kind of worth it to some degree to sit back. The T's are also a lot more forgivable even if you do manage to take them down, so just really not worth going for those couple of frags which you may or may not get when your CT side economy is so unstable to begin with. But G2 actually catch on to one of these players here, most specifically Device, which is probably the most high-value target in the game right now. If they're able to take him down, then again, that's an op that goes onto the floor, potentially one being picked up, but it doesn't actually look like anybody's going to push out against it. Maikelele, he's moving in, but he's not going to be able to find him in time, so Device survives the round. And again, another one goes by the way of G2, but we still have a decent amount of armament sitting on the members of TSM, which they're going to be able to use to contest G2 here in the coming rounds. So, now again, as we take a look here for TSM, they do have to go for a pretty big save. And for G2, again, actually keeping pretty much the same buy, as they're pretty well aware, I think, of the economical situation that's happening right now. But take a look at the push that's actually gone on. They're already through mid-choke. They are sandwiched in a little bit, but that doesn't matter. aizy's going to pick up 2 frags. Xyp9x does respond with 1, but again, aizy's able to pick it back up, takes down karrigan, and now they bring this into a 4 versus 2. Xyp9x and Device are going to be the final 2 left alive. I think they might just end up going for this, though, or at the very least try to position themselves to find a couple frags. They're not going to go for it, as we saw there. Xyp9x does end up falling back. That's going to be the same story for Device, as he just looks for a couple extra pickups here towards the end of it. But again, this is becoming a bit of a problem here for TSM. A lot of these, again, make a lot of sense when they choose to go for these saves. But it is getting into a situation where the communication, and this is a very big key point as to why we see a lot of CT teams start to fall behind over on this map specifically, is the communication is just coming out so slowly that unfortunately, and we'll actually get back to the discussion in a second, because we are going to see those final 2 players over there from TSM get hunted down by both jkaem and Mutiris. They take them both out. They lose 1 on the way, but again, they can eat that up on the T side. So anyway, the big problem that happens on the CT side is definitely a big factor here for TSM, is G2 are just going for such solid, quick takes that unfortunately TSM are not given enough time, nor are they really investigating this enough. So it's a bit of a catch-22, because one of the big problems for TSM is they're playing it too aggressively, so they lose players very early on in the round, but at the same time, G2 is also making their pushes so that they kind of have to get aggressive to try and scout out this information early on. Because TSM is not finding it, and they cannot communicate this to their teammates, they aren't given enough time to rotate, and this is why we're seeing so many save calls being made from TSM, because G2 get control of either A or B so quickly, there's just nothing they can do to respond to it. So again, this time, you can see they try to get aggressive. I mean, they get responded to with 2 kills, but as we can see, dupreeh picks up 2 with a shotgun, and now they're going to be even back out there down to a 3 versus 3, and this is where things can get very interesting, as the bomb is in control of dupreeh right now. He's got it back over here on the rap side corner. But the others as well have A site control, so if they can reclaim control of it, they can get it back. But dupreeh there gets that little bit of a peek, is able to find it. aizy actually is able to pick up Xyp9x there too. They're going to press forward, and there's a third kill that comes out from dupreeh, and he's completely blind for this one. jkaem is going to be able to find karrigan, but look at dupreeh now. He's trying to get this flank. This is actually a bit of a risky move. He had a very solid position against these players, but now he's trying to flank them out. 44 seconds left on the clock. They don't actually realize that he's here as of yet, but they're going to fall back through middle too. Now he's got a long-range battle, and they should have been able to hear him. So this is going to get rough, but he gets another one, takes out jkaem, and now it's down to a 1 versus 1. Is he going to ace with a mag 7? He's going to try to find his way up through the T steps now. Maikelele, he's got to step this so carefully. He should be able to circumnavigate around it, but no. dupreeh's going to have the positioning. It's just all about connecting that first shot here, and he should be able to take him down. Brings it down to 2 HP, and he's going to do it. dupreeh gets the clutch ace with the mag 7. All 5 kills coming out from that one, and look at all the money he's going to have now. 7.7k, sniper mag 7, says jkaem in the chat. Holy crap, and that immediately brings TSM back into this game. So we do see G2. Obviously, again, I oversaid that a little bit there. TSM are not exactly going to be in the safe spot just as of yet, as we can see from their buys compared to that of G2's. They're not exactly going to be in a safe spot as of yet, but mentally speaking, this is definitely going to hurt G2 a little bit here. And again, with one round like that, we can maybe see some more effort being thrown onto the members of TSM here as well. 4 AKs, though, along with that op still coming into play on Fox. The big problem for G2 now is going to be the utility that they're missing, which we've seen that become a problem in some of these previous rounds. However, cajunb getting a little bit too aggressive there. He's going to get dropped down to 47 HP early on in this round. dupreeh trying to respond to this one too, but unable to really find any significant amount of damage over there into jkaem. It's only going to bring him down to 75 HP, and the rest of this team coming outside of Boiler haven't managed to draw any extra rotations as of yet. There was still that potential, if you were paying attention to the minimap, that it was going to go up banana, a bit of a split play, but this is now going to be a full 5-man push onto the A site, and this is going to get a little bit rough here for the A defenders, but we can see over there Device is trying to find his way around to get a flanked angle. He's not going to pick it up, and Fox hitting it pretty heavily by this molly too. He's now down at 30 HP, has been forced away from it. So they're doing a good job of holding this off, and now they're drawing their rotations back in from over on that B site. Still going to keep one there for safety reasons, but unfortunately, karrigan, he's going to be able to get the info, but he dies in the process here, as Fox is going to be able to connect that op shot back over onto him. More looking for the peek out there. aizy's going to find it, and now they're actually switching this up once again, going to the B site, where now you just have Xyp9x to worry about here. He's going to have to try to pull off a very big defense, as we also do not see either Device or cajunb rotating in. They realize what's happening now, but this is going to be coming in far too late. However, Xyp9x, he's going to be able to pick up 2, lines them up, as both Fox and Materis walk right into his crosshairs. aizy is going to be the one that finds a response to it, but look at Device. He now comes in and shuts down aizy, so this is going to be a 2 versus 1, and Maikelele is going to have to try to hold things off back over here inside of the garden as that push comes out from banana. Still going to be a little bit of a rough take here, and Maikelele definitely has the advantage, but he's going to pick up that first kill, falls back a little bit, gives cajun some room to push forward. 20 HP sitting on cajun, 44 on Maikelele. No utility at all either here, so he's going to press forward, picks up the kit to give himself a little bit more time. When Maikelele realizes what's going on here, he's just going to play it back, take all the time in the world, but he might have peeked out just a little bit too early there. It's going to be so close, but I think cajunb is going to be able to grab this defuse, and in fact he does, just barely gets it. And again, another round goes by the way of TSM by the skin of cajunb's teeth, and they will be now that much closer to tying things up, and with this one they have managed to finally break G2's economy, so now they're back into this game. Like I said, got a little bit overexcited with the clutch that came out there on the Mag 7 before, but now they've managed to definitely restore the balance as far as the CT side is concerned here, and they're going to force the members of G2 onto a Tech 9 armor round. The only exception to that being Maikelele, of course, who has chosen to go for the deagle, but again, utility, none of it to be had here from G2, so highly unlikely we're going to see any split play happening. Most of this, as you can already see, is heading over towards the A site. Every single player pushing their way towards this one, and cajunb too, sitting himself up over here on the balcony. Gonna wait for any sort of push to the long haul, but it looks like it's going to be an explosion outside Boiler for the most part, and they may actually be reconsidering, potentially. Nope, still going for A, definitely. Just trying to hold themselves over here through mid-choke a little bit to try and get a better foundation about this, and also watching out for flanks too, which is why that one player fell back down through middle a little bit, I imagine. But they're taking it very, very slowly, but do not be despised as we do see the action getting started now. Maikelele looking for a couple shots, brings dupreeh down. Device also falls very low, but cajunb handling his position like a champ. Not only this, but dupreeh is going to be able to pick up another kill as well, be able to take down aizy. And now we see the final T lift alive from G2, going to try to rush through highway, but karrigan's going to see this coming. Not able to pick up the kills, unfortunately. Finds the first one finally, and then Xyp9x comes in to assist with the final one there. Is able to take down Fox. G2 not expecting too much from them there, but not a single kill goes their way despite bringing both Device and dupreeh down extremely low. Not going to be able to pick up either of those players, and that is definitely going to hurt those guys by a pretty big margin here. So now when we look at G2 again, they're right back into the mix. We do see TSM able to go for another buy, obviously, but for G2 again, the big story here now is that they do get themselves back with the AKs. And a little bit more utility this time to work with here, too. But there's going to be an aggressive peek that comes right back out. And take a look at Device. They're pushing down middle. Fox has no clue that that's coming in his direction. He's going to get shut down. And now G2, they're forced to make a play. They have to go into this site. Maikelele finds the opener, but the burning Haycard is going to be able to take him down directly after that. He's brought down way too low from that duel. And now they're trapped. They've got nowhere to run. They've got to try to make a play for this B site and rush in towards it. They're moving more support in the form of cajunb back over into the A site and around through Highway to come over towards CT and get themselves in this. But karrigan, he's going to pick up 2 as he finds both aizy and Mutiris. jkaem responds with 1 more, but that's going to be it. karrigan picks up the final kill, and that's a great aggressive pinch that comes in there from TSM. Now they've tied it up at 7 points. This was still a great T-sided half from G2, but it definitely could have been a lot better in the way that it foundationed itself here at the beginning. TSM did a fantastic job of coming back in this final round here. If G2 wants to hold a stalwart chance of really getting themselves back into this one, they might want to try to pick up this extra one against TSM. Definitely looking a little bit rough at first at the beginning of this match, but now they seem to be coming back in very, very good form. And there's Device again as he picks up the opening kill here, able to take out Maikelele. Xyp9x might push himself back over here towards the card angle, but does end up falling back due to the molly pressure that comes in there from the T's. And we see dupreeh hugging inside of the porch there. aizy just tries to waltz right outside, but unfortunately he's going to ultimately fail, and dupreeh picking up these kills left and right. Does mess up a little bit, as I think he actually runs out of ammo there on the final one, but cajunb picking up jkaem. Mutiris responds to that one, but now he's the final player left alive, looking for a 1 versus 3 clutch. Has picked up a rifle, and he's got armor sitting behind it. But I think he messes up the smoke a little bit. Oh, no, though. Actually rolls right back out there. He's going to be able to find Xyp9x, but doesn't realize that karrigan is sitting there at the bottom of middle and is going to walk right into his doom. Very easy target for karrigan to be able to take down. So TSM do end up coming out on top here near the end of the half. 8-7 is going to be the scoreline here. TSM leading off of the CT side. G2, obviously, again, with a pistol round victory on their CT side, could immediately get themselves back into this game. But they do have a little bit more work to do, of course, now, as we'll have to see how their own CT side fares. We talked about the communication problem that played in a little bit there for TSM, sort of in the beginning and middle parts of that half, but I think it's going to come into play a little bit more for the side of G2, with them still having Mutiris being brought into the roster and him not necessarily being a full-time member. That could get messed up a little bit there if he's not fully with the team in the way that they handle certain situations on this map. That could become a pretty big hindering point for them if they're not watching out for such a thing. But an action already getting started back over here on Banana. It's going to be cajunb that actually picks up the first 2 kills on both jkaem and Fox. dupreeh finding another one over here as he's able to knock out Maikelele. Now we see more support trying to come in from G2, but it all is coming in too late. This is just a sweep that comes in from the members of TSM. Mutiris is trying to look for something inside of construction there, and aizy obviously watching out for any sort of flanks that come in. There's going to be one in the form of Xyp9x, but he actually sort of abandons that quest too as he falls back down and just going to regroup with his players through Banana. There's not really a point in doing it, as he might actually just give away his own death, and the members of TSM that are actually just pushing the front line seem to have no problem at all handling that one. So they pick it up 5-0 in the pistol round. Perfect. And no one from G2 picking up a single kill. They are going to go for the forced up round here in the second one, with maybe the exception being a player trying to save for it up. Nope, that's not the case. So everybody buys up the armor. Mutiris takes it a little bit lighter with no head armor coming into play in a P250, but he does also buy up the utility, so that explains that one. The rest of these guys, either 5.7s or CZs with their head armor, and they're just going to go right into this one. A full 4-man push. They will keep Xyp9x over here again to try and hold off any sort of aggressive play from G2 that would come out either through the apartments or middle. But the rest of these guys, they're just going to be going for the direct push over here into the B site. And there is a pretty mean crossfire set up here that's going to allow jkaem to grab 2 kills here. Takes out both cajunb and karrigan. dupreeh finally responds to that one by taking him down. Now there's still another threat coming into play in the form of Fox back over there. He's sitting behind the spools. They do have enough pressure to keep him from peeking out and trying to take out the planter, which is going to be dupreeh in this case, but he's forced back inside of Emo nonetheless, and he's going to have to sit himself here while the rest of G2 look for the close-in, as they are going to be a man down right now, and the pressure is going to sink in very, very quickly. We've already got players moving in. aizy finds a player on Banana. Device is going to be able to pick up one, and we're seeing more being brought out there by Device, too. He's going to find a frag onto Mutiris, but now they got the support coming in from aizy. Just look how low these final players are. Device with 18 HP, going to have to try and clutch this. He's stuck behind. He's going to have to try to stop Maikelele from defusing. Doesn't necessarily have a kit, but that's not going to stop him anyway, and this is going to be so close. Is he going to be able to get it in time? And ooh, just grabs it there. Maikelele playing it to the dime, is able to close things out for G2, and they immediately strike back there on the forced eco round, and now they bring it up to 9-8, keeping the scoreline very, very close. This will destabilize TSM, but they're going to go for the buy, and unless they cannot take the standing up, they're going to, or technically the phrase, but they cannot take the sitting down, they're going to have to stand up and go for the big buy here if they want to try to get a response to it and try to bring themselves back up now to 10-8 to hold that lead and try to grow it a little bit more here. If they do this, they're definitely going to break G2 and force them onto the double eco. No way they're really going to be able to make any sort of significant buy with the economies being thrown in that much of disarray. But if we can see G2 come out once again, that's going to be the exact opposite for TSM, and they're going to have to go for their own saves. So, starting things off once again, Maikelele and Mutiris hold things very, very nicely as they pick up 2 kills. We do see the response coming out from dupreeh, but beyond this hold is actually perfect from G2. They took a risk on the 4-man stack over here on the A site. We can see Device is trying to find his way out of this one, picks up 1 kill, almost grabs the second on Maikelele. As you can see, he's just going to barely survive that scenario with 1 HP left alive, but nonetheless, it does allow the members of G2 to tie it up once again, as both teams are sitting at 9 rounds right now. And as we predicted here, TSM, they're going to have to go for at least 1 save, potentially 2, depending on how they play their economy. Because with the second round losing bonus, it would put them, a lot of their members, pretty close to 4K, which they can still pretty comfortably buy on the T side. But they're not going to have a whole lot of utility, which they may want to work against here with how cleanly G2 just won that round. You can just see this full stack that these guys have. Interestingly enough, G2 not going for an op as of yet, and Joakim, interestingly enough, using his teammate as a bit of a bouncing platform for his molly, so that's a thing. And now, take a look at karrigan here. As we see these players back over here in middle trying to make a bit of a move over there towards the A site too, but TSM being held back very, very nicely by this aggressive play from G2. However, Fox handling himself very well actually, as we do see dupreeh ending up falling down to Fox here, and Jacob just going ham. He doesn't actually realize, he doesn't actually realize that Xyp9x had rotated around him through car, the 4x3 resolution getting the better of him. And that's going to be the knife that comes out there from Xyp9x. He's going to pick up an additional kill as well. And Mutiris, he's hunting him down. He's looking for more blood. I mean, you see aizy sitting back outside of Banana, so if he doesn't expect a player to be there, then he could get caught off guard. And he's going to push himself back into the B site here, and this is unfortunately still going to be a very, very hard push to make. No armor, no utility to make this with. So as he presses his way in here, looking for the shots into Maikelele, he's going to be able to find that. The pinch may come back in, but he's expecting a second player, but Fox can't connect it initially. He's going to fall back, look for aizy, almost gets him, but is not going to be able to take him down. aizy just barely survives that encounter with 13 HP, and the round goes by the way of G2 once again, but almost a clutch there coming out from the last member of TSM, and what a clutch that would have been, including a knife kill coming out from Xyp9x. That would have been dirty, and he almost did it. Very well played by Xyp9x nonetheless, but unfortunately without armor or any utility, that situation is going to be very, very hard to pallet. And he's just not going to be able to pull that off. So to start this one off, Device finding the first kill. Now that we see an op getting into the hands of the T's here, it's going to be Maikelele getting dropped. But we also have an op coming into Mutiris this time around too, to try and use that from the side of G2, where they previously have not picked this up as of yet over here onto their CT side. You can see once again from Fox just playing the close angle. He's going to get smoked, so won't be able to catch anything here. But for the rest of TSM, they're still remaining undecided as well as to where they want to take this push. Playing it back for the time being, but pushing themselves in A. No bomb commitment as of yet, but it definitely is looking like they can make the play over here. Unfortunately, Inferno is a very hard map to predict where the take is going to be coming in from, so it could change at any moment, but with Device again making a second impact frag here to take down Fox, they're definitely going to be moving their butts into this site. There's dupreeh finding another one, and Device with a third op shot here. All of these extremely mobile shots too coming out, so what a great round that comes out from Device on the op. Now it's just Joakim, and obviously he'll be saving, as he has to sit back. Might position himself for exits as he moves inside of Library, but beyond that, I don't think he's going to be going any further. Just sits himself on top of the counter, and he's going to wait for anybody else from TSM to push out against him. He'll be able to stay alive here too, so this is actually a very good spot. As nobody... Oops, sorry. Just trying to show the positioning a little bit better. Nobody's really going to be able to catch him right here, as obviously, again, you'd have to come back around through the other direction, and everybody from TSM, as you can see from the minimap now, seems to think that he's worked his way over here somewhere inside of the T-apps anyway, so he's definitely staying alive. He won't be finding any exits, unfortunately, but he keeps himself in the mix here. Now, what would have been really cool is if he gotten himself close enough to where Mutiris had been, he might have been able to scavenge the op, but I think Mutiris died somewhere else on the map, so that was not going to be a possibility for him, unfortunately. He just has to be happy with saving that M4. and is going to be able to drop out an extra gun for Materis, I believe, this time, as he throws him over a 5.7. The rest of the guys, they'll go for the rifle upgrades if they can afford it, but the CZ is going to be the only other buy they have beyond that, which will sit on Maikelele. Very little utility. This is now going to get rough as the game remains very, very close for the time being. TSM still obviously with a very real chance to make this comeback plausible and allow them to really win out this first map here in their favor. And if I remember correctly, I have to confirm it because it actually wasn't on the HLTV. It wasn't on the HLTV thing, so I have to recheck the Skype chat that we have going. But I think this was TSM's map pick, so obviously they're going to be the ones wanting to win this one here. I could be wrong on that one too. I'll have to double check that when we have a bit of a dull round. But the first peek comes out from Device, and again, he's going to be impacting very early on in this round here by picking up that first shot at a Fox. Hoping he's going to be able to find jkaem as well with him peeking back out, but jkaem taking it very slowly. He himself trying to decide if he wants to go for this, but this ends up settling on a smoke. However, now going to creep out there, and Device, not sure if he's seen him as of yet. Going to be very hard to spot him out, but jkaem thinking about maybe pushing in too. Goes for the spray on top of it, and not going to be able to find it. And immediately is fired back at by AKs there, so he's going to have to hold back for some trouble. That flash gets messed up, so they're going to be held back, but again, that positioning from jkaem there, sitting on the porch corner. Xyp9x expects it though, so he's going to be able to take him down. And again, that's the only defense they have on the B site. They're relying on that player there to try and hold things off and keep it threatening, keep it in a sort of threatening position, but it doesn't pay out. And now again, the positioning from G2 is just all wrong, as we can see on the complete opposite side of the map, so they're not really going to have anywhere to go this time. dupreeh's already looking to hunt down the remaining couple players. Can he see Materis is the question. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to spot him as he sits back up there inside of the window room or the balcony room. But he's going to hunt his way inside of the T-apps or the CT-apps potentially here anyway as he moves himself up into the apartments. Looking for maybe finding out on a Materis, but he's got to be careful here a little bit because he doesn't want to give them more free guns. Pretty sure that they're going to have a pretty good idea that they've only got 1 to 2 more rifles left in the mix here if they're keeping good track of the economy. And for Maikelele and Materis, they're definitely not going to be the big targets. The big one is going to be aizy, as he sits himself in a very, very safe spot just outside of the long haul, and no combat's going to end up happening at the end of the round. So everybody survives from G2. Still have a couple upgraded pistols, but the big problem is, again, they've only got that one rifle, so this one has to be a safe, as it's just not worth to force it again. Can't even really afford the rifles this time, so for those that have stuff from the previous rounds, they'll keep it. Fox doesn't buy anything this time, and all jkaem grabs is just a 5.7 for himself, so this is the full save round that comes out from G2. Obviously, with the M4 still in play, they've got a chance of pulling it off, and they do take a bit of a risk this time as well by stacking 4 players onto the B site. And they're just going to keep Materis back over there, which is interesting too because they only leave Materis here as the only player sitting here to defend A, and he's only got that pistol, so they're not really going to have anything to defend that site with. They're taking a huge gambit, and they've just got to keep themselves super quiet as well. If they even give the members of TSM a hint that this push is going to be coming in, or that they have a big presence sitting back over here onto the B site, they'll probably immediately call the rotate and go into A, so they cannot give this away at all. And we can immediately see here too that I think TSM might be favoring the A site there, so they're playing this very, very well right now, and if they figure this out, obviously they'll have a pretty easy site take. Even the members of G2 are figuring out that maybe this isn't going the way they wanted to. aizy keeping himself a very, very mobile player right now as he moves that rifle in a position, looking for these players, but I'm not even sure if he's been spotted as of yet. And in fact, no, those are just lucky shots connecting onto aizy there. So he's going to be able to take down dupreeh, as he thinks he didn't connect on anything, and now falling back as the actual take is going to come into the B side. It succeeds. They move their way in, but oh no, look, they don't realize that jkaem is sitting back over there, but I don't think jkaem fully realized his own situation too, so he's going to fall back behind Nuvox. He's being kept alive for now, but he's going to end up getting surrounded there. aizy tries to roll him with the rifle. He only picks up one as Xyp9x is going to respond to him, and now unfortunately it's just Materis who has to try and pull off this 1 versus 2. The play coming in from cajunb. He's going to try to rush this, but he's safely behind first. Orange is there, looking for the headshot, and Xyp9x almost finding him, but not going to be the case. Again, a very, very close round towards the end of it, but TSM end up surviving it with just a few players, very low amount of HP on both of them. They will once again keep that lead growing strong for the time being, bringing it up to 12 to 10. Money not necessarily in the super safe position as of yet, but they have enough for at the very least another 1 to 2 more force-ups. And as for G2, they'll get their rifles rolling here. No op coming into play for Maikelele or Materis, but we will see the full M4s, and again, a decent utility stack for these guys. So this is going to be probably one of their last chances to contest this. They're going to have this round here, and they'll have to get eco after this one more than likely, but for TSM, that will put them up to 14 points unless we see an eco victory coming out from G2. And then that itself, this is going to be the one of the final 2 gun rounds that they'll have to really try and contest this map. And already things are getting started here as dupreeh finds the first opening kill. Xyp9x tries to drop down there to pick up another one, but unfortunately not going to be able to have that. So only 1 kill being scored on the members of G2 early on. And the rest of TSM, they're basically stuck, placing themselves back over here just outside of Banana right now, and Device there in a very good position to avoid that nade damage. cajunb finds a great entry as he rolls right in. jkaem playing that close corner, but that just doesn't pay off, and Fox gets himself on top of the spools. He too, unfortunately, only able to pick up 1 frag. So now bringing this down to a 2 versus 2. G2 are going to go for the split retake here. karrigan already realizes that this is going to be a real possibility. So he flashes himself into banana. He's probably going to hide back over here behind the sandbags. Maikelele should be very easy pickings with only 6 HP. The one thing Maikelele does have going for him is utility, and that Mao is going to be in a great position because it does end up forcing Device out of position. But unfortunately, as we could see there, Materis was not in a good enough spot in order to catch Device as that Molly connected. So Device was given plenty of time to relocate himself, and Materis was just going to be an easy target there after they were able to take out Maikelele. So that's a good one being closed up by TSM. And as we were saying before, this has to be a save from G2. If they forced it up here, it would really be unwise, as that would basically close the game out at that point forward. That would put it to 10 to 15 more than likely, and TSM would have the overwhelming odds to take at least 1 point before G2 were able to catch up to it. So we did see the nade stack coming out this time here. Fox is able to pick up 1 kill, but this is ultimately going to be a failed plan that comes out from G2, and obviously, again, you could just see there by the post-round thing that that was probably the quickest round so far in this game, only lasting 16 seconds. As G2 try to go for a bit of a gambit play, pushing their way down middle in hopes that maybe that nade stack will kill like 2 to 3 players, and then they could just headshot the others with their pistols. But it doesn't go that way, and it looks a lot more embarrassing than it actually should have been. So this is going to be it here. This is the big round that decides map number 1, or potentially decides map number 1, I should say, in the favor of TSM if they pick it up. Zipnix moving in is already, again, that intuition from him, and not just this, but look, they've gotten dupreeh back up on top of here too. Maikelele is going to be able to roar it in, trying to contest dupreeh, and that's going to work out. They find the trades. jkaem picks up another one. Very, very quick round once again here as TSM try to keep the heat back onto the members of G2, and it's going to pay off here, but jkaem still has the defenses against 2 more players. He's going to push out, finding one and the second, shuts out cajunb and karrigan, and a shutdown from G2. TSM try to play it aggressively, and G2 strike right back with just as much fierceness. Now they're getting themselves back into this game. 3 more rounds behind, but they do have that economy sitting on the side of TSM to work against here. Full rebuy coming out for the T's, including the op sitting over here on the Device. Full AKs, full utility, everything these guys need, and they might even have one more up their sleeves here too when you look at the remaining money. The only exception to that would be cajunb, but G2 now have a real chance to save themselves on this map, and TSM are not secure just as of yet. But there's going to be the peek opening out there from Fox. Finds cajunb, dirty one as he takes him down. And already TSM now faltering a little bit here early on in the 26th round as they're going to lose one of their players. It's a nice jump from dupreeh there as he messes that up initially, but obviously no harm done, as there isn't any aggressive positioning being placed out here by the members of G2. There's going to be another peek, but Fox is waiting for that one. And Device spots his leg from a mile away, takes him down. And now another player from the side of TSM falters. This was a lot of the problem with their CT side, was they tried to play this too aggressively without any really utility or any information supporting these pushes. Unfortunately, they're going to lose their players just trying to rely off of the skill alone of their shots, and now they've been brought down to a 5 versus 3, and they still have absolutely no clue what's going on in that A site. So we can see once again from TSM, they're going to be trying to line up the smokes and whatnot on the A site, and they will probably be committing to this one. 30 seconds left, not really a whole lot of time for a rotate to come back off, but they're going to make the push back in now. Zipnix is trying to catch players back over there by arches, but the trade happens on the site itself. dupreeh takes out aizy, but Materis and Maikelele respond to that one once again. Now bringing it just down to Zipnix here, trying to clutch it out, but no, that's not going to be the case. Materis holding back over there behind the big box, takes out 2 more at the end of it, and closes things out once again for G2. Trying to close the gates. We do see at least one more force buy coming out here from TSM. Not really a force buy. We do see at least one more buy, I should say, coming out from TSM here, including all 5 AKs once again too, and very, very good amount of utility. So this is still a very good one, but this is going to be their real last attempt. They'll be on the 3rd losing bonus. A couple players will be within range of a buy, but looking at dupreeh, cajunb, and karrigan, they're not going to have enough. And again, the big problem too is TSM are being pressured, and they seem to be really being affected by that a lot. Like I hate to use the word choke, but again, things fell apart a little bit after that last round, but it's not at any point where they can't recover from it just as of yet. But it did seem like, again, they were going back to those old habits on the CT side where G2 was leading, like, I can't even remember what it was. It was like 7 to 3 at the beginning. We were seeing a lot of very patternistic issues that were coming out from TSM there, and they're starting to surface once again here immediately after just losing 1 round. They're right back to those old habits. As we saw again, Fox was able to pick off 2 players due to over-aggression, and that was a big reason as to why we saw TSM faltering at the beginning of that CT side at half as well. So TSM actually lining up a very big push into the B side now. They're going to go right forward, and unfortunately the timing against Fox is not good, but jkaem holding with this spray control. Picks up both karrigan and cajunb. He will end up falling, but Fox just barely escapes there for the time being. Picks up the shot on a dupreeh and gets himself out of there with the smoke still lining up. But you see the molly coming into that, almost catches Fox there, looking for the blind shot, not going to be able to find it, but bringing this down to a 4 versus 2. Now it's Xyp9x and Device, trying to hold things. Device, as we can see there, whoa, tries to find that shot sitting behind over on the Materis there, but as we see Xyp9x trying to find his way back in and holding for a potential banana push, they move in. Maikelele finds the first kill, and aizy grabs the second, being completely blinded there. Nothing Xyp9x can do, and a great retake comes out from G2 once again. That's another round for the guys over here on the CT side, and now they're 1 point away from tying this up once again. TSM, they were so close from being able to close this one out, but it was just not meant to be as of yet, and now they're going to have to go for the Tech 9 armor buy-up to try and hold this back, and then they'll get probably one more rifle attempt at this one and have to go back to the Tech 9 armor buy. They had a good enough stack of money to where it hasn't affected them adversely so much just as of yet. They are going to be limited to some degree, but this is a good setup now from G2. And looking at their own money too, they've got to be a little bit careful because just one more strike back from TSM would force them onto an awkward buy, and they haven't really been able to perform too well with those just as of yet. They have to be very careful in making sure that these rounds are flawless, or within the next round or two here, they can build up a good enough economy to where it's not going to matter, even if TSM does get up to that 15th point. But here we go. Now TSM all the way through mid-choke once again, trying to find their way up onto the A side. All 5 players committing to it. No rotations coming back out as all here. And we can see the lineup coming in from Maikelele. They just sprays down 2 there, catches both karrigan and cajunb. Device able to respond with at least 1, but here comes Maikelele once again. He's going to find a 3rd. Finally shut down from Device. He did end up picking up 2 kills, but now he's alone looking for a 3rd. He's going to find it. He's got 4 HP, and eventually Fox is going to shut it down with a P250. G2 have tied it up at 14 points, and now this is the round where things are going to get very, very interesting. Full buy for both teams. The op on Fox. We've got Device going for his op as well. They're back up to full buy potential. This is probably going to decide it here. As we see too, the bit of an awkward money situation from G2. They should be able to go for another buy after this one, but TSM may not be the case if G2 win this, and it could be very, very close there on the last round. So to start it off, TSM, at least looking at karrigan there, I'm really hesitating to say noob again. Trying to read those names and it throws you off. karrigan looking for the shots inside of the window room there, hoping to maybe find some overt aggression from G2, but this is not the case. G2 are anything but aggressive right now, keeping their players positioned back. They do hear that op shot from Device, and this prompts a pretty wide peek from Fox. If Device drops against this could get dangerous here, but that nade's gonna come in, tries to blind it, but oh, Fox misses his. And it's the same story for Device, thankfully for Fox. That's gonna keep him alive for the time being, and he's just gonna play safely and try to molly this off potentially in a moment here if he hears any extra aggression. The molly comes out, Device is still there waiting for it. In fact, Device gets a little bit more aggressive against this too. This is a very bold battle between both of the oppers, and Device gonna try to catch it, but no! Fox finds the peek against Device and shuts him out. So that's going to be the op battle going by the way of G2, and that's a great start here at the beginning of the round. The bomb is technically committed over towards the B site too. Haven't moved in against it as yet, but they're trying to get this arch split going once again. The molly comes out, they're looking for a way inside of that. The smoke is back over there towards library. G2 should know that this is happening at this point, but they actually might just change up the game plan now because they've had so much trouble getting through arches. Look at this, cajunb now moves the bomb back over to this site. They're going to switch up the game plan and go over here instead. We can see Xyp9x trying to line up the shots on a Materis, but he's going to find the first kill. Maikelele rolling out, not expecting Xyp9x to be inside of the cubby, so he finds the first one, gets Materis through the box, but aizy and Pit picking up 2 more, dropping both karrigan and I believe cajunb as well, and he's going to close it out here for G2. Shuts down the offense, and now G2 sit at match point against TSM. TSM were so close, sitting at 14 to 10. I think it was 14 to 9 at one point, but now bringing it up to 14-15. G2 were the ones with the huge comeback. And now again, we see as much of a force buy as TSM can afford. It's not too bad actually looking at it. 3 rifles, one of them is going to be a Galil, but you've got both dupreeh and cajunb sitting over here on the Tech 9s. And again, they've got enough utility to make a take, but can it be effective enough is the big key here, because they've gone for these big bold plays, and unfortunately, to some degree, we haven't really seen enough of this being used here, and their plan last time, I think, was to make that split through arches. I'm not 100% sure if that molly came out from the CTs or them through a mess up, but that molly regardless caused them to change up the game plan completely and work their way back over to inside of the A side anyway, so they had to change it up, and that just did not favor them. And look at Maikelele waiting, has such a small angle looking around that smoke, but he finds it. aizy looking for more, so much damage going on to the members of TSM. aizy gonna pick up another kill, might be able to find dupreeh in a second, but Device tries to roll into the B site there and open up a flank, thinking it's empty, but jkaem's here, he's ready to defend it. This is gonna prompt a bit more of a rotate coming out there for Maikelele, just for safety reasons in case TSM have fallen back, but this is not gonna be the case. That molly will go onto the floor. It's going to force dupreeh a little bit farther away, and I'm not exactly sure what that pop flash was, but thankfully nobody from TSM is close enough to really capitalize on that anyway. And now again, they're looking for a miracle here. 2 versus 4. dupreeh at 11 HP. It is only 2 players on the A site, but one is very, very close and can be there at just a moment's notice. So there we go. Zipnik's open fires. aizy's going to be able to catch his location. Not exactly sure if he's seen the bomb carrier as of yet, but 30 seconds left. They've got to make a move. And now we see Maikelele wrapping around against these players here. He's going to be able to pick up the first one. Is able to take down dupreeh. Now it's just Zipnik's moving in. Finds the first one, but can't pick up the second one. And G2 with a miraculous comeback. Win the first map. 16-14 in their favor. That's going to be map number 1, guys. And that will close things out here in the favor of G2. They will now lead the set 1-0. And are only one more away from closing things out here against TSM as well. The second map here should be coming up in just a few moments, and it is going to be over on Mirage. I should correct myself, by the way, guys, in saying earlier I did mention that this was TSM's map pick. This is not the case. This was G2's map pick, so very, very close, but they do manage to close it out. Now we go on to the second map, which is TSM's map pick. That's going to be over on Mirage. We'll be right back, guys, in just a few minutes with it, so stick around here at StarLadder StarSeries Season 14.